Well, hello and welcome as we continue to dig into the Bible book of Revelation, and we're continuing today in chapter 20, exploring verses 11 to 15, and this is what they say. Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. The earth and the heavens fled from his presence, and there was no place for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. The sea gave up their dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them, and each person was judged according to what they had done. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. Anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Well, with this reading we have reached the sixth vision of this latest series of 7 visions that John sees here, and this one shows us the final judgment. John sees a great white throne and him who is seated on it. This is Jesus Christ. He is returned to judge the living and the dead, and this is what John's 6th vision describes here, following on this time from the last vision, which described the final defeat of Satan and all evil. And all are standing before the throne. The sea, death, Hades, they all give up their dead. 2 books are opened. One appears to be something like the annals of history, detailing what everyone has done in their lifetime, each person throughout the history of the world. All they've ever done, said, thought is taken into account. But if that was the only book that was opened, of course we'd all be condemned. For none of us can ever do enough to make up for our sinful rebellion against God and against his Son Jesus Christ. Choosing to live in God's world as if it was my own means I choose death in the end, the second death. Unless I put my trust in and hope in Jesus Christ, who rose from the dead. All who do have their names written in that second book, the book of life, the second book that John sees being opened, have salvation in Jesus Christ. They're the ones who believe in Jesus, that he died and rose again for them. Salvation only comes through faith in Jesus Christ, never ever by any effort of our own, not by any good we might do whilst we're alive. It is a scandal of grace that new life and forgiveness and ultimate resurrection life after death is a gift that can only ever be received with gratitude, not a reward that can be earned or worked for. This in and of itself can put people off the gospel. It is sheer gift. It is only by accepting that we receive. Jesus himself makes this point when he was with his disciples on earth. In Luke chapter 10, the disciples are astounded that the demons obeyed his commands, but Jesus tells them not to rejoice that in their work that Jesus has commissioned them to do, but only to rejoice in the fact that their names are written in heaven. It is only by grace, by accepting the sheer gift of forgiveness and new life that is found in Jesus, that they are saved, that we are saved. All who find their names all who find that their names are not written in the book of life are thrown into the lake of sulphur, the lake of fire. And this is the second death. And there's a warning here. Beware if you think you are good and that what you do and the good you do will save you, or if you think your good outweighs your bad in some ways. It's the wrong scale entirely. The offer is for you. Life forever, after death, with God your Creator, and finding in him full satisfaction and hope and joy that starts now. But you can't do this through your own, you can't get this through your own efforts. You have to recognize your sin. Come to Jesus, who longs to forgive you and love you and save you. Come and ask him, he'll answer. Receive the gift of new life as a gift, the sheer gift of grace. And if not, by the time you stand before the throne of Jesus Christ, it will be too late. And perhaps what's worse, you'll not even want the free gift of new life then. Our decisions affect our hearts over time. If we reject the offer of Jesus and the gospel, then over time our hearts will harden and we won't be able to stand even being in Jesus' presence. We would choose a second death over full and true worship of Jesus. So if you do not know Jesus, don't ignore this now. Don't ignore this. And if you do know Jesus, then rejoice and pray for those you know who don't yet know him, who are yet to encounter and to follow Jesus Christ the King.